Missiles Convoy, and this is my review of Newage H27U Universe David, or their version of Skybound Optimus Prime. You can see the box here with some art that's redrawn to portions of the figure. Little homage to the comic up here. Pretty good box art, I'd say, and then it's just some photos of the toy. This figure is on loan to me from Clown from my Discord. Thank you again, I appreciate it. Let me take a look at this figure, and let's begin. This is, I think, the 25th use of the Newage David mold, so I'm very familiar with it. I have another copy, but I have not reviewed it on this channel. Starting off, I do think that the proportions here in general, while not maybe necessarily as heroic as Skybound Optimus, which is based off Magic Square's Prime, are definitely a little bit more friendly. I guess you would say friend-shaped, more in line with the Sunbow cartoon. But however, with the art change midway through the comic book, with I think Daniel Warren Johnson being replaced by Corona as the artist, Corona's Optimus seems to be a bit more puffy in the chest region. So ironically, I think we're approaching these proportions. The new Megatron arm is obviously from the comic run, and it looks good. The cannon is just a reuse of the Agamemnon cannon. For the deco, I really like this shade of red. It's like this earthy maroon that just looks gorgeous. I don't even know if it's particularly accurate, but it gets that vibe across of the whole comic look in a way. Really, it feels like a vintage comic look that I really do like, and this dark blue especially. I'm not a huge fan of this beige tan, unfortunately. I get what they were going for with the whole look, but it just kind of feels off. I don't really know if white would have worked either, though, with this beautiful red and blue, so I guess they were trying to find some type of a compromise, but it just comes off feeling a bit incongruent. I think what this really needed was a whole weathering damaged wash. They've already done a version of this called the End of the Road version, or H27Z, which you can look up, which is completely decked out in battle damage and weathering and even physical scratches, I think, to get that really damaged feeling going across. And I think that would have worked here. He's pretty clean from the back, of course, and the new arm is a new sculpt. It is a new tooling. But for the most part, I'm a little bit incongruent with the color choices, I think. I'm really not sure about this beige-ish plastic and paint they've used for these parts. It's painted here, bare plastic here, painted orange on top of bare plastic there. So getting into the articulation for this figure, this is a very posable figure. On the head sculpt, which you really take a look at, it's pretty good. I mean, it's a classic Newage head sculpt. I think there's a little bit of paint overspray right there. It's really hard to see. No, it's not. Okay, this is painted, of course. The head, you're like an assembly back here, which allows you to change this neck joint to whatever position you want. So for example, he can look up that far, right? You can basically get him all the way up, and then he can look down basically to, I want to say to here before it starts looking weird, but of course his chunky chest gets in the way. The double chest, everyone knows about it. You probably have an opinion on it by now, so I'm not really going over it. And of course you get a full 360 on the ball joint, and you get not that much side to side, unfortunately. But you can compensate with the neck assembly. You have a butterfly joint that gets you 2 degrees forward and 15 to 20 degrees back, so that's nice. You have a bicep swivel and universal shoulders. Bicep swivel's a bit tight, there we go. Double jointed elbow on this version of the mold, and a wrist swivel. Articulation is the same for the cannon arm, so it does have the double jointed elbow, but it does get a little bit less, I think. Yeah, it gets a little bit less because of the sculpt of this part. And it does have a universal. Also, this does go like that, so you can get more, it doesn't matter. Ab crunch assembly on this toy is well documented. So you basically have this extending ab crunch here that lets you go like that, which is pretty good. You also have a secondary joint in here, which lets you get even more. But, you know, however much you get is not really much more than, that's the maximum. You also have hip skirts, which go up and to the side, universal hips, and when combined with the ab crunch, he can easily kick himself in the face, you know, except for his fat double chest again. Thigh swivel. Again, this is a complete run, right? Double knee, which has this like knee pad that comes in the front, which is pretty nice. It doesn't get all the way to 180, but it's pretty close. It's like 150. Ankles are ball jointed. They get you a really nice range of tilt here. And they also do get you some up, some down, not a lot. And you also have a toe hinge, which can get you some decent range. So there is a lot of articulation here. Definitely the most articulated Newage figure, I think, still to date. Except for like maybe like their Slag, which has fully featured butterfly joints, but this has a lot of other articulation elsewhere, especially in the legs. For accessories, it's the usual fare. We have alternate hands, which come in 2 colors. I'll show you the articulated segment hands here. One comes in black for the Megatron gun arm, and then one comes in blue for the Optimus regular color. However, I think these are black plastic painted blue, from what I can tell. So just putting that out there. And these also have a wrist hinge. So when you use these hands, the open hands, he does gain a wrist hinge in terms of articulation. He also has a pair of pointers. Again, the right one is painted blue. The left one is painted blue, and the right one is painted black. His other accessories include his Ion Blaster, which features some of that beige paint back here. Again, not sure how I feel about the beige. And his Energon Axe, which for some reason is blue, but in the comic, I'm pretty sure it's orange in like the one instance it shows up, so that's a very strange choice. And then he also has a alternate head sculpt, which is like a damaged head. Let me zoom in. So I don't dislike this, but for some reason some of the sculpting feels soft. He looks more like he's melting on this head, which is kind of uncharacteristic from Newage. In this faceplate section, it feels strange. It doesn't feel like the damage is really sharp and picked out. It feels oddly mushy. So I'm not using it. You can switch it on the ball joint, but I would be careful. Obviously, you don't want to put stress on these rather small antenna. You don't want to damage those. So just be careful with those. That's pretty much it for accessories. I guess time for a proportional comparison really quickly to a relevant mold. Here's Magic Square's Pit Lord, which is their nemesis of their Legends Optimus. This Legends Optimus mold was upscaled to make the notorious MS-02, which was cited as the design muse for Skybound by Daniel Warren Johnson. And you can kind of see the proportional differences here. A much more heroic build for the Magic Square release, where again the Newage release is much cuter in its proportions. It feels more cartoonish in that sense. But again, like I said, Skybound Optimus is drawn with this convenient double chest a lot. So I don't think this is exactly like not fitting for the character, because I don't think Skybound Optimus is always drawn like this, especially not since Corona took over for art. But, you know, if you want to, you could wait and see if Magic Square does their own. I doubt it. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll just leave that there, and let's just get into some size comparisons. So you have a Legion class toy from 10 years ago, a current Core class toy. Well, Core class is technically dead, so a smaller Newage toy right there, and kind of current deluxe. So, you know, again, these Legends class third-party leader figures, you know, figures of leaders, I suppose, their leader class is usually around almost deluxe size. And just for a quick comparison, here they are with Magic Square's Devastator. And if you've read Skybound, you probably know why I'm bringing that comparison up. and as you can see, it doesn't really fit in my frame. But yeah, there he is. So I suppose Newage Devastator would be more topical. I don't have one anymore. I don't really have a cartoon one anyway. I didn't have a cartoon one anyway, so kind of a moot point. But yeah, that's how he scales. I'm gonna get him transformed, and we'll take a look at his alternate mode. Quick alternate mode size comparisons. Legion, smaller Newage figure. Core, small, bigger than a core. Next to Deluxe, so pretty sizable. Let me clear these out of the way. And we'll take a look at this alternate mode. Usual Newage David truck. I'll talk about the back in a second. Again, the beige is here. More beige paint for the headlights. Again, really don't know how I feel about it. License plate is painted a nice shade of gray, which is nice. Yellow right here. These are not painted yellow. There's a Megatron arm. I like how it has like the proper greebling and etc. to match the other side of the truck, which is awesome. It's a nice attention to detail. One smokestack. Now you'll notice I have the cannon like this. In the comic, he does have the cannon oriented like this in some panels where he can shoot people behind him. But usually when he's in alternate mode, the cannon is supposed to go like this. Or, well, I can't deal with this figure, but it's supposed to be like this. I feel like that's a big overstep by Newage. The cannon is just a reuse of the one from their Megatron mold, and I feel like they really should have used a new cannon piece or retooled this partially so this could be a smokestack like it properly should. There's a 3D printed upgrade kit for regular David by Supermake that I think can actually do that. And it's just like kind of baffling this wasn't a priority. It's like one of the only things this has to do new in terms of engineering, and it doesn't do that. The back is usual Newage David back. I always did like this guy's truck shaping in terms of the proportions to the back wheels to the front wheels, but this glump on this back is not really that nice. I actually do like how it's messy because truck cabs are messy, but I feel like if this glump would be back here, the wheels would have to be farther back. You don't notice it as much when he has the trailer equipped, but without the trailer, it's kind of noticeable. And you can put his feet up for classic Optimus, feet back of truck moment, or you can put them down. The MS one is cleaner in the back, but it also is completely flat with no detail whatsoever, so there's a trade-off. These are also painted, by the way. But for the most part, it's fine. There's a small part right here, though, where they forgot to paint the sides right here. But I think that's happened on other versions of the mold. It's just hard to get to and hard to paint right there. The doors also do open in this mode, by the way, which is awesome. You can't really fit anything in there, but they do open. Again, awesome feature on a Legends class toy, and it's not really that hard to do. But yeah, I mean, the alternate mode is fine. I just really wish they'd done something about the shoulder cannon. But that's pretty much all I have to say for his alternate mode. Oh yeah, roll's fine. I'll get into my final thoughts, I think. So, final thoughts for Newage David, their H27U, their Skybound version. I will say that this has always been a fun mold. We've looked at it 20 times as a community, and the general consensus holds true for this release. It's a fun toy. I had enjoyed photographing it, I had enjoyed playing with it. It's fun. This particular release, though, which is really the crux of what we're reviewing, is a bit questionable with the half measures. I love the earthy red. I know I called it maroon, but it's really more of like a brick red. I don't know, it looks great. The dark blue is fantastic, but the beige just brings it down visually and really harms what I think is a really pretty toy. It doesn't go with the two colors, and I get what they're going for, but it doesn't really work. The weird blue energon axe and the fusion cannon not really doing what it needs to do in alternate mode are just disappointing. Like, this is a premium Legends toy. You don't need to reuse the one fusion cannon mold you have. You can afford to make another for this release. These types of compromises are fine in mainline, which is heavily restricted by budget, but on a $60 Legends figure, Conversely, though, $60 is not a price increase from previous Solo Davids without a trailer, and considering I just saw a $55 Carbot in my previous review, it feels like a good deal, which is hilarious that Newage has jumped up their prices so much that their old prices feel sane and reasonable. My overall recommendation, though, also I forgot to go over the Matrix Chamber. He has a Matrix, there's a million videos, it's the same as the previous ones, just has like beige handles. my final recommendation is, if that you aren't bothered by the beige and you're a big fan of the Skybound comics and you want a Legends Optimus, I would go for it. If you already have a David, or especially a cartoon David, Supermake is making a 3D printed upgrade kit with a new arm. I would save your money and buy that upgrade kit. Newage could have released this arm on its own as an upgrade kit. They just released an upgrade kit for Studio Series Megatron, the Bumblebee movie one. They didn't do that to, not harm the sales of this version, which again, I feel like is a little bit of their greed harming user experience, because it would have been much more cost effective for the fan base to just buy the arm separately for those who already have David. But yeah, still a fun toy. I had a fun time posing it. I hope you guys enjoyed the gallery. I tried to recreate some Skybound panels. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me, guys. Have a good one, and I hope to see you all back for the next review. Peace.